In this video, we'll talk about what a rebuttal witness is using Kate Moss and how Kate Moss became a rebuttal witness for Johnny Depp's case and more. So stay until the very end of this video where we break down all of those elements. Stay tuned! Hi there! My name is Katherine. I'm a lawyer and I also think differently. Kate Moss was not supposed to be a witness in this case. Even though she wanted to be a witness, she could not help Johnny Depp out because the judge did not allow prior relationships to be evidence in this case. Before we move on, if you can click subscribe below, that will be really helpful for me to create videos for you like this. Thank you so much. She actually made a ruling, Judge Ascarati did, at the beginning of the case that the parties cannot bring in prior relationships for the potential that they might insinuate prior bad acts. And in a civil case, prior bad acts are not allowed in because they have a tendency to show that when someone does something in the past, that it's necessarily mean that they will do it again today or later on. But that's not necessarily the case, right? That's why the judge ruled that prior relationships and prior bad acts cannot come in the case unless the parties open the door. Opening the door is a legal term of art, but it means what it says, which is when a party opens the door, they literally open the door to let bad evidence in or evidence that are not usually allowed by law because it's usually considered prejudicial or not supposed to be in the case. That's what that means. Here, Amber Heard opened the door to let Kate Moss in as a rebuttal witness when she testified on the stand and mentioned Kate Moss and the stairs. Let's take a look at the clip of her testimony where she did that.
Johnny swings at her and I just see my little sister with her back to the staircase, and Johnny swings at her and I don't even wait for any other, I don't hesitate, I don't wait, I just in my head instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him. In all of my relationship to date with Johnny, I hadn't landed a blow.
As you can see, that was the infamous Ben Chew fist pump and look of excitement as soon as Amber Heard mentioned Kate Moss's name. And again, to remind you, that's because the judge ruled early on that the parties could not bring in Kate Moss or their prior relationship to testify in the stand unless they opened the door. Amber Heard did just that on the stand. I'll show you next the clip of Kate Moss' testimony. But before I do that, I want to explain what a rebuttal witness is. A rebuttal witness has very limited testimony. He or she can only rebut the testimony that was given in the other party's case in chief relating to a specific issue. That's why when Johnny Depp brought in Kate Moss to testify on live feed in UK, she can only testify as to Amber Heard's testimony about the stairs and what happened at the stairs. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Kate Moss testified to on live feed from UK.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mr. Depp calls Kate Moss to the stand. She will be appearing on your screen.
All right, ma'am, can you hear me? Yes, can you count to 5 for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you, ma'am. If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Moss, or I should say good afternoon your time. My name is Ben Chew from the firm of Brown Rudnick. Would you please state your full name for the record?
Kate Moss.
Ms. Moss, where do you reside?
London, England.
From where are you testifying today, Ms. Moss?
Gloucestershire, England.
Ms. Moss, do you know Johnny Depp?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Mr. Depp?
I had a relationship with him.
Did there come a time when you and Mr. Depp had a romantic relationship?
Yes.
For how long, Ms. Moss, were you and Mr. Depp a romantic couple?
From 1993 to 1994 to 1998.
Ms. Moss, did there come a time when you, while you and Mr. Depp were a couple, that the two of you took a vacation together to the Golden Eye Resort in Jamaica?
Yes.
What, if anything, happened when you were in Jamaica with Mr. Depp?
We were leaving the room and Johnny left the room before I did, and there had been a rainstorm, and as I left the room I slid down the stairs and I hurt my back.
How did you...
And
I apologize, Ms. Moss. Please continue.
and I screamed because I was because I didn't know what had happened to me and I was in pain. And he came running back to help me and carried me to my room and got me medical attention.
Did Mr. Depp push you in any way down the stairs?
No,
During the course of your relationship, did he ever push you down any stairs?
no, he never pushed me, kicked me, or threw me down any stairs.
Ms. Moss, have you ever before today testified in any kind of court proceeding?
No, I have never.
Why did you decide to testify today?
Objection, Your Honor.
All right.
That's beyond the scope of what we just talked about.
All right, I'll sustain it.
Thank you, Ms. Moss. We have nothing further at this time. We greatly appreciate your taking the time to testify.
All right, any cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're free to go. Thank you, Ms. Moss.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Even though I wanted to hear more from Kate Moss regarding her relationship with Johnny Depp, and I'm sure she wanted to tell more on that part, she was not able to. As you saw, Amber Heard's legal team was very quick to object if she even tried to veer off or go away from that issue of the stairs. You might be asking yourself, why did not Amber Heard's legal team cross-examine Kate Moss? I think that's because, one, if they cross-examine Kate Moss will probably not be able to provide any testimony that would be helpful for Amber Heard, because why would she, right? Also, second, if they cross-examine Kate Moss, they might accidentally open the door for other things. And guess what? In other parts of the case, specifically the rebuttal case of Johnny Depp, Amber Heard's legal team actually accidentally opened the door during their cross-examination. And I'll talk about that in my other video. But that happened in one of their cross-examination of Johnny Depp's rebuttal witness. And so that rebuttal witness was able to talk more about things that they would not have been able to talk about unless Amber Heard or her legal team opened the door, which unfortunately they did as well in that other testimony and other witness. A third reason why Amber Heard's legal team did not cross-examine Kate Moss is likely because of the time limit in this case. Amber Heard's legal team has very little time left, so that if they cross-examine Kate Moss, they're going to use that time, but there are other rebuttal witnesses that Johnny Depp's legal team are still going to present. So they have to be strategic in what they're going to use their time for. And as I mentioned earlier, with the first and second reason why they probably did not cross-examine Kate Moss, it was not going to be helpful for them anyway, so why waste their time on that? So that's likely why they did not cross-examine Kate Moss. What's interesting though is when Johnny Depp went on the stand as a rebuttal witness for his case, he actually mentioned and discussed Kate Moss as well, but again in a limited capacity because he can only rebut the Kate Moss and stairs incident and can't talk more beyond that scope unless Amber Heard and his legal team opens the door again, which in this case they didn't. So let me go ahead and show you that clip of what Johnny Depp said about Kate Moss.
Mr. Depp, do you recall Ms. Heard testifying that she punched you in the staircase incident because she thought of Kate Moss in the stairs?
Do I remember her saying that?
Yes.
Yes, I do. 3 times. Yes, I do.
Do you have any understanding as to what Ms. Heard was referring to?
Yes, I do.
And-
As Kate Moss, Kate testified, it was many, many years ago. And exactly what happened is what she said happened. I recall speaking with Ms. Heard about that very incident because of the downpouring of rain, because it was raining very heavily that day that Kate slipped. And I recalled the story to her.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
May we approach Your Honor?
Okay.
Please continue, Mr. Depp. What did you tell Ms. Heard about the staircase, or Kate Moss?
I'll make it easy for Mr. Rottenborn. Ms. Heard took the story and turned it into a very ugly incident, all in her mind. There was never a moment where I pushed Kate down any set of stairs, yet she's spewed this 3 times before.
Objection, Your Honor. Ms. Heard simply testified that she had heard a rumor, and that's
What's a
not
rumor?
responsive to the question.
Sir, hold on. This
Sorry.
objection. I'll overrule the objection.
Misstates the facts and evidence.
I'll overrule the objection.
Sorry, I was drawn by Mr. Rottenborn's voice.
Certainly.
What would you like? What was it?
So what specifically had you actually told Ms. Heard about the incident with Miss Moss and the stairs?
Very simply that we were in Jamaica. I had left our bungalow about 3 minutes prior to her. I was standing outside, and suddenly rain starts just coming down like it's, a monsoon. And then I remember looking and seeing Kate coming out the door, and there were 3 little wooden stairs, and she slipped, her legs went up, and she landed directly on her coccyx and her lower back. And she was obviously physically in pain. She was hurt. She was crying. So I ran over and grabbed her to make sure she was all right. That's it. That's all I ever. That's the whole story. But then the rumor of it, I'd never heard a rumor of that before Miss Heard grabbed hold of it. It's like that. Sorry.
Now you have all of the testimony relating Kate Moss and the stairs. Kate Moss and Johnny Depp both confirmed that Johnny Depp never pushed Kate Moss down any stairs at any time during their relationship. One interesting thing that should be pointed out, when Johnny Depp testified as a rebuttal witness and he explained what happened, he also mentioned that he told Amber Heard about the truth and the whole story regarding Kate Moss slipping down the stairs. So Amber Heard knew about the true story when she testified falsely in UK about Kate Moss and the stairs, and she also knew the true story when she testified here in the court in this very case about Kate Moss and the stairs. In my other video, I talked about the 5 elements of defamation that both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have to prove for their case. The 5th element I mentioned is actual malice. I would argue that Amber Heard's testimony in the stand that she was afraid of Johnny Depp's physical abuse because she thought of Kate Moss and the stairs incident, and she was afraid that Johnny Depp would push Whitney down the stairs and possibly push her as well, that rises to the level of actual malice, of such reckless disregard to the falsity of her statement, which she knows is false because Johnny Depp just testified that he told Amber Heard the truth, that he never pushed Kate Moss down the stairs, and that Kate Moss actually slid down the stairs because it was raining and the stairs were wet. Her testimony on the stand, knowing that incident with Kate Moss and the stairs is false, might even rise to the level of perjury charge. In my other video, I talk about perjury, and I will be providing more detailed video regarding that particular issue. So there you have it. You now know everything about Kate Moss and the stairs testimony, and you've seen all the video. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you learned something new from this video, please go ahead and click subscribe. If you're new to my channel or have seen my other videos, you know that my son created this for me in support of my YouTube channel. He's very supportive, and I am very supportive of him as well. We support each other very much in anything that we do. Please go ahead and click subscribe.